A very good morning, very good afternoon, very good evening to all my students. So yes, myself Chartered Accountant Bhanushali, your tutor and your mentor for ATX. Yes students, so let me just confirm once whether we are audible and visible. Just give me a minute and we'll be back soon. So yes students, this side your tutor Chartered Accountant Ashwini Bhanushali over here today. Yes, we are at a position where we are going to cover up our examinations perspective. So yes, you heard it correct. So today I'm going to give you a simple tips and tricks that we can go ahead for our examination, the way we are going to write our paper. Not just that, the way our examination is going to be visible towards us, right? So it can never be something which is altogether different. So I always request all my students that study like to the extent, to the max extent. I know we'll be normally having a good overview of the studies from the notes that we have prepared it, or maybe the lectures that we would have taken up. But are they enough that okay, if I have just went through the notes, is it enough for me to be ready for your examination? So I will just give you a simple request that students, only the notes which I have taken is not enough. Then what next to be done? So I would highly recommend all the students to practice the mock paper, to practice the papers. And students, a humble request to each and everyone to please do the pre-mocks which are available. Yes, so pre-mocks turns around to be the most important topics which students, like I am very much shocked to know that a lot of students does not know about the pre-mocks. So yes students, prior to examination, like 15 days prior, you will be known with the pre-mocks. So in your CPE platform there comes up a pre-mock. Okay, so in the normal classes, so we do pre-mocks by the end of the syllabus and by the end of the revision series. So a very simple request which I would like to tell you to my students is to please try to do the pre-mocks prior to your examination. So before you give your examination, everyone you should be ready with the mocks. Means everyone you should be ready. Okay Baba, no matter what the question comes, I am ready to solve it. I am like, see, I will never say you that you are supposed to score 100 marks. And 100 marks is not something which is very easy to be scored for. I know. I will not even aim for like, oh, I want everyone to get like 90 plus. But students, the criteria which the institute have of just having 50 plus, it's not difficult. It is not difficult. Especially for your ATX paper, it is the most easy thing. Why? Because it's not conceptual. It's not based on the assumptions. It's not based on some facts and figures. No, you will be given the rates. You are known with the rates. You know the conditions. You know the exemptions. You know the allowances, and that's just it. You need to provide. You need to apply the rules and regulations and the rates that you know into the numbers and get the value. So a lot of students have a situation. Okay, ma'am, is ATX a theoretical paper or you're the calculation one? So yes, it is most probably the calculative part, but it's just that I am a student right now, but maybe after this paper, giving the last paper of ATX, I'll soon be a professional. If I want to be a professional, I have to be a professional. Means I have to act. I have to act. I have to portray myself as a professional in front of my examiner. So how will I like portray myself as an professional? So it's not that I'm going to wear some good clothes and maybe I'll be in front of them. No, your face is not revealed. Rather, the paper that you write is revealed. Yes. So we have to write our financials, our answers in such a way that the examiner, if he has just once a glance to our paper, he should be feeling, yes, yes, yes. Now this is a student. who is rather a student but a professional. Only then we get the marks, and that's the reason in your optional paper you must be known that for ATX we don't write for 100 marks paper, rather we attempt it for 80 marks to get 20 marks as your professional marking. So you must be knowing with the format that we have for your examination. So the first question consists of the professional markings, which is 10 mark. Yeah. So we have a very great case study, but can be like 50 marker. In that we have 10 marks for professional markings, and the remaining two case studies will also be for 25 marks, out of which I will have to write it for 20 marks and 20 marks each, rather getting 5 and 5 as the professional markings. So is it very easy to get the professional markings? To be very frank and to be very precise, yes it is. Unless until you have a practice of writing. So yeah students, when I'm going ahead with the December attempt paper, or maybe those students who are watching up in the March attempt, I'm so sure that this is what is the max thing that you are supposed to do, and that is nothing other than practicing it in the CBE platform. So I normally, whatever questions I take up, I will not do the questions and I'll just show you, Gacha, this is the solution which has been pre-printed by the institute. So okay, you're just going to see that and just complete it. No. Doing the audits is very easy, but we need to know how am I supposed to formulate my answer. So yes students, this is what we are going to learn it. And if you haven't watched my prior videos, do check my videos. Today I have taken up another mocks, one important question which a lot of students have doubt. Yeah, I have seen a lot of students having doubt. So without any further delay, I would like to just show you my Chrome. In that I'll just open up my ACCA global, and this is what I have opened it, and I'll be having my user ID password, which all students must have it. And as I'm not a student, again I'll be using one of my students login ID password, in which, okay, give me a minute. At times it becomes like that, insert. Yeah, I have inserted it, but it didn't win. And now it's the time of examination, right? So maybe the site will be heavily loaded. And students, on the day one also I have taught you, okay, we have to study. Like there are a lot of materials, I know. Some of the tutor must be emphasizing to read, let's say, Kaplan material. Some of them must be telling you to read BPP material. But I am the one who will force you, who will tell you a humble request as well, whatever you want to understand it. My qualifications, go to my qualifications. We need to study. We cannot avoid, like we cannot be successful until unless I am good with my ACCA study hub. This is the best resources which is available to me, so we have to go ahead with that. Then we are going to do today the CBE practice platform. In that I'm going to solve one paper with us, not the whole paper for sure, but the important topic which I wanted to cover it. In the last class I did one good question. Today also will be going ahead with a very good question, which a lot of students make mistake, and which is again easy also, but I need to get the concepts very clear. So yeah, we'll be clicking on the ATX and UK. I'll go to official resources. I'm taking up a past exam paper, which is basically over here. If you can just give me a minute. I think like it's visible. Yep. Yeah, it's getting opened. It's just highlighted. Okay, just give me a minute. Yeah, let it take some time. Are you able to see this? June 23? Yes. So over here it's assigned. Okay, so I'll just open it up in the assigned materials in the left hand side where it is. I just now assigned it. Okay, you can see past exam and exam papers. So I have assigned myself like this June. Over here, this is my attempt. That is June. I'll be doing this important question. That is June 23, 23, 24. I'll just resume it doing it. So I'll just show you the stuff which is there in the question, and we will be trying to do it. So yeah, over here it is given that one of the first question of section A is worth 50 marks, and yeah, in that 40 marks I'll be writing it, and I'm getting 10 marks as a professional marking. So students, if you want to see this question, just come up students. I have not did this question in my current video because this is a question of Hiromi. I have already covered it in your September 2023 attempt. So in case if you want to have an eye on that question also, please do check the video. And a very big disclaimer which I wanted to give to my students is that whenever you are doing the ATX paper, please have a very big intuition in your mind that first and the foremost thing, first the very basic thing, the very basic thing is that students, the paper whichever you are choosing it needs to be not pre-dated, not post-dated. It needs to be updated. It should be having the current rate, current figures and everything. Okay. For example, if I want to see some tax rates for the help, I can go here with the help table, help tax table, which will be there in your examination. So you will get a tax table over here. So you'll get whatever the numbers you wanted. Okay, yeah, you remember exactly the thing I have shown in the class also, that it is available to you in your exams too. So yeah, that will be very helpful for whatever percentage. If I want to get it, I'll be getting it. Okay. And some examiner's instructions, fine, that's okay. Okay, so this is a question I would highly recommend you. If you want to see this, if you want to read it, please see Hiromi's thing. I have already put it up in your YouTube. But we were supposed to put this section B also, but now I feel again this is important, which needs to be done. So let's understand this question, which is very simple. Like seriously, it is simple. It is not difficult. It is not difficult. So yeah, without having any further delay, let's just understand this question. Okay, I'll just make it big. So yeah, this is the background of the story. This is the exhibit which is given. These are certain requirements which are there in the question. Okay, a huge requirements are there, and this is the way we are going to formulate the answers for. Okay, just give me a minute. Yes, and this is a word processor in which I want to write the answers. I'll write the answers, and in case if I want to have something in spreadsheet, I can just even use the spreadsheet also and give my answers too. Okay, now let's just read the first thing. So students, whenever have a habit, I don't think like you have never attempted the paper. For sure you would have attempted either other papers too. So have a practice of first of all not reading the question as a whole. See, we don't have any options. I have to attempt each and every question. So when I don't have any options, so it's more better now to read it from the start. So yes, so what I will do is I will try to first of all read the requirements. When I read the requirements, my mind starts working, which is the topic which has been hit over here. And whenever we are reading the question, some of the tutor will say, okay, they'll say, okay, but don't understand anything, just give a plain read. But I am the one who will never say that, because students, we are having any which ways very less time. We don't have an ample of time. Okay, we can take a huge amount of time and we can start writing the papers. It's not that. It is not that. So what I will do, I'll read the requirements. My mind should start working in that direction, and then I will jump to the storyliner, and then to the exhibit, and then too my mind should work. But what can be hit, what can be asked, and how can I interpret it? Okay. So without any delay, let's just start with the requirements. So what's the requirements first? If you see, this is a requirement what they have given us. You should assume today's date is 1st June 2023. Okay, it's 1st June. So the date is given. Today's date is 1st June 23. Okay. They have asked us, explain the corporation tax treatment. Okay. So over here, they have asked us about the corporation tax treatment. For Silvis, okay, Silvis Limited. Okay. So there is a company, Silvis Limited. In the year ended on 31st March 23. Okay. So I am on the date of the 1st June. I need to report about the corporation tax treatment on 31st March 23 in relation to what? In relation to acquisition of two assets, each of two assets. When it is acquisition of assets, my mind should work. Maybe they can be, they have some test about what? Let's say maybe they can have the questions about, let's say some of the other assets maybe there. Maybe they'll be asking about some exemptions. Maybe there will be some annual investments. So I'll be getting some benefits or maybe allowances. I don't know. Maybe they can test upon that. Let's go ahead and read this again. So for that they have given 6 marks. Good. Second, explain with reference to the reliefs available for forecasting of the trading losses. So okay, it's something like the company is having a loss relief. So how can they adjust their losses? So in the previous class, in the I think yesterday's session only, I have explained you one concept of losses. Yeah, and I told you that this is one of the favorite topic which the examiner would love to ask you. So he will always emphasize some or the other way from your losses concept, because he needs to know that do you know how to adjust the trading losses. Okay, but over here there is some twist. Yes, explain by the reference to the reliefs available for the forecasting trading loss, why it will be advantageous for the Elora Limited, means the company. Right now there was a Silvis Limited, Elora Limited, to commence a trading company which is underway through a permanent establishment rather than overseas. Okay, so ma'am, permanent establishment overseas, yeah, something like branch, yes, something like subsidiary. Okay, I'll explain you. So maybe my mind should work here in the PE, permanent establishment means it's something like a branch. So what's better? To establish a branch is better, or to establish a subsidiary is better? So maybe we can work on that. Then they have asked us, state the tax consequences for the company for making an election to exempt the profit of overseas from corporation tax. Yes, we know that we can elect. If I want, I can elect it. But if I'm electing it, it becomes an irrevocable option, and there are certain benefits and exemptions which are withdrawn and things are there. Yeah. And what they have given, okay, if you understood the consequences, what happens later on, then please give them the advice to the company whether or not it is beneficial for them to make the election for today's plan or for future plan. So you have to give them the answer, giving your thought processes also. Last question over here, they have asked us about, and which is worth 5 markers. Explain how the following items will be reported by the company. VAT return. Okay, value added return for the quarter ending on 30 June. Okay. About some services purchased from the overseas and the goods acquired from the overseas supplier. And yes, this is how we have to show the transactions, and yeah, we get 5 markers for the professional skepticism too, if you can see. Yes. Now students, I'm just like going ahead with the previous stuff. So guys, after I understand the requirements, I found it pretty easy, but I could make it up. A lot of overseas things are there, so maybe they can hit on that concepts. Yes. So without any further delay, we have to understand the question. We have to read the question. And yes students, you will gain maximum marks if you interpret the question properly. So a lot of students are having a problem in interpreting. A lot of students have a problem in understanding the question itself. So if you don't understand the question for the first, how will you expect to write the correct answer? So this is what we have to develop the answers. We need to start understanding and developing the answers. Okay, so let's read the background which is given in the question. Okay, you should assume today's date is 1st June 23. Okay, the finance director of the Elora Limited has requested you to following the advice. So okay, my company is Elora Limited, and the finance director has requested me कि चलो बाबा, I have to give advice on 3 parts. What are the 3 parts? First, the tax implications for acquiring the 2 assets. Okay, yeah, they have given something about 2 assets. Yes, from an unincorporated business. Okay, the company has acquired the assets from a business. Then we have to give them an advice for starting up a trading activities, okay, overseas. And again, the VAT consequences for purchasing goods and the services from some foreign, like overseas, maybe my branch or my subsidiary. Okay, the following exhibit is given on the left hand side, and we have to just use it for the responses. Okay, so what is given for about the Elora Limited? We'll just go slowly. We'll try to read each and everything. Okay, about the Elora company. And this is my company, Elora Limited. Okay, I'll just make it a bit bigger. Okay, maybe not required. Okay, yeah. Elora Limited and Silvis Limited. Elora Limited owns 100% of the ordinary shares in Silvis Limited. Okay, that means that Elora Limited has 100% stake in Silvis. So maybe parent subsidiary relationship. Yes. I think like you guys are getting it what I mean to say. Yeah. So over here, Elora and Silvis. Elora is having 100% stake in Silvis. Okay. Elora Limited and Silvis Limited are both the UK resident company. Oh, good now. Both are UK resident companies, so there's no problem. Both the companies prepare their year-end dates on 31st March. Good. That's good. Just the background of the company is given. Now, what about Silvis company is given? Silvis Limited. Okay, Silvis Limited acquisition of asset. Okay, so Sylvest Limited has acquired some assets. So you remember there was a concept that we have to interpret something about the assets. Yes, if I have to interpret something about the assets, what it could be. Okay, so when I am interpreting anything about the assets, we have to consider which type of assets they are. What is the type of depreciation or amortization is being applicable? Am I getting any sort of investments on that or not? So we'll just try to develop, read the question. Yes. So on 1st April 22, the company acquired the following assets from an unincorporated business. Okay. So the company has not purchased from somebody else. It's just from the unincorporated business. Okay, what's that? LT brand. Okay, it's a brand, LT brand. So that means the company has purchased brand. What is brand? So you will say, ma'am, brand is an intangible asset. Yes. So if you remember the concept of company, that is corporation tax, we have to apply amortization. We have to charge amortization on the purchase of the brands. On the purchase of the brands means on the purchase of the intangible assets. So what they have written and what is the amount? Okay. I'm, I'm not at all feeling good. Let me like do one question and then yeah. Okay. On 1st April 22, the company acquired the following assets from the unincorporated business, the brand. Okay, the brand they have taken it, and that cost £50,000. Okay, so if you can see, if you have purchased something from the brand or you have purchased an asset of the brand that is worth 50k, you know, okay, it is to be amortized over the period of the life. Okay, and what can be the expenditure which I can put it up? Okay, so moving ahead to the expenditure, we have a concept. We have a concept. Amortizations expenses as per the cost as an expense, or whatever is the cost of the asset, whatever is the cost of the intangible asset, multiply by 4%, whichever is higher becomes my expenditure. If you don't know, you are supposed to like sorry, just give me a minute. Yeah, so actually I had my medicines and yeah, I'm back. Thank you for just like having some time. Yeah, students. So over here, the brand, over here it's given like the cost is 50K, and we know that when we have a brand, we have to amortize it over a period of whatever it is given. Okay, and we have to take an expenditure which is higher of what, either the amortized cost or 4% of the cost. Yeah, that is what we know. Then over here what it is given, and another machine. Okay, so specialized machine, that is a tangible asset which is worth 30K. Okay, so maybe for that there will be some other adjustment treatments we are supposed to make it, like it could be special allowances. Maybe there could be a super special allowances of 130 percentage. But I know there could be an allowances only and only if the machine is new machine. If the machine is new machine, there will be 130 percentage for sure. But I need to know whether this type of allowances will be there or not. Along with that, we have some another concept of allowances, which is AIE. Yes, annual investment allowances, which says us that yeah, maybe there's some company you can get a maximum annual allowances around pound 1 million. Like yeah, that's the limit. Okay, so we have to see whether the company, not just one company, along with that every company. So it's a cumulative it's a cumulative allowances, right? So what they have asked us in the acquisition of the assets for the first part, they have asked us this Silvis Limited is using both these assets for the purpose of freight. Okay, it's good. The brand first been amortized. Cool. The brand will be amortized over a period of 8 years. Okay, so I just have to divide the brand by 8 years, or I have to consider whatever is the cost multiplied by 4% to get the expenditure. Fine. Now, what about my asset? Another asset, the specialist machine was previously used by an unincorporated business in the trade. That means when I ask you about the special super allowances, where I get the allowances of 130 percentage, will you get this allowance? You'll say no, ma'am, because it is not a new thing, right? Yeah. It was being already been used, so it is not at all a new machine. So these allowances will not be there. But I know, yeah, I can normally get an annual investment allowances. So maybe that I will be asking it up. Or there could be a situation, like for example, if I got to know, okay, annual allowances are not there. Okay, so like sorry, super allowances are not there. So I have to again go and find it out. What is my main pool? Or can I take the special rate allowances also? Wherever there is an annual allowance, they choose it to take up for special rate allowances, which is 6%. So they can get it more better allowances. So yeah, we have to just consider that stuff also. Okay, up next. Okay, I have to also consider something else because I know okay, many a times the annual allowances are really that 18%. So we can just go ahead, see what they have asked us in the question. Okay. The company Selvis Limited will adopt the most tax efficient thing which is available for the assets. Okay, so first part they have to consider and do the best available for their assets. Okay, second, Alvora Limited is trading overseas. Okay, so my company, my Alvora Limited, is trading overseas. It's not just limited to the UK. They are doing some transactions and they are doing some business overseas. It can be either by having a PE there, that is a permanent establishment there. So permanent establishment is something like a branch, which is my part, which is a part of the company, or maybe there can be a setup of subsidiary also. But when we know the difference between a branch, that is basically over there, if I'm having an overseas in the name of branch or permanent establishment, it is an extension to our company. And branch is not a separate legal entity, whereas if I'm talking to you about the subsidiary, it is altogether a separate legal entity. Okay, it's altogether a separate legal entity. So over here what they have asked is Alvora Limited trading overseas on 1st July 2023, because my year ends on like I have been reported on the date 1st June 2023. Alvora is planning up something. Alvora will start trading in the country of Selmia. Okay, so these are the plans. Will it has not yet started. Will start trading in Selmia. Alvora Limited has been advised that it will be very advantageous for the tax purposes to obtain through a PE rather than a subsidiary. Means what? They have been having a word, like they are planning up something in upcoming future. They want to set up a Selmia in the country of Selmia. Either they want to put up a branch, either they want to put up a subsidiary. So they have to consider the things from the perspective of income taxes, like a corporation tax, which is more beneficial to them. So what happened? The overseas operations will be loss making for the first 9 months of the trading, after which is expected to be profitable. Means they have a thought, they have a plan like Okay, when I will set up an overseas there, maybe it can be anything like a branch or subsidiary or PE. They will initially have some losses. Only then they'll have a profit. In short, that is a loss-making thing. Okay. Elvora Limited will like to take a relief of the loss incurred by its operation as far as possible. So you should know one concept, students. When it is a subsidiary, it is altogether a separate legal entity which is not connected with my company, isn't it? Like it is, but it is altogether a separate legal entity from the perspective of corporation tax. But when it is branch, when it is branch, when it is branch, when it is branch, when it is a PE, it is a combination. So I can take a loss relief, but not a loss relief in subsidiary. So in the subsidiary, you will not get any sort of benefits of loss relief. But when it is a branch which is situated there, you get a loss relief. So this is a big hint. So what they have asked is, Elvora Limited currently has no other overseas operation, but plans to open an additional permanent establishment. Okay. So right now they don't have any other operations, no other overseas operation, but in future they want to plan what? They want to plan an additional PE, means a branch in few years. Cool. So what are the tax systems? In Selmia I want to open. So the tax rate system in Selmia, over here in Selmia, if I'm having a PE, I will have to pay up a tax of 28%. Oh my god. But in UK, my corporation tax is only 19%. Then should I have a double taxation? DTAA? Yes, yes. I should have a DTAA treaty. Otherwise, like it is something whichever is less in my country or in that country, whatever is less is being reduced. Yeah. Then if I pay 28%, here if I pay 19%, it is reduced. Like my 19% is cancelled, so I can get a credit. So what it is written? There is no double tax treaty between UK and Salmia. Okay, maybe that have to figure it out. Now what happened? Trading losses and results. So what they have planned it up till the next year. So UK operations for the year ends, like over here it has been visible 610. Okay, these are the forecast trading because we haven't come up till this date also, students. So these are the trading profits. So my UK operation is going to give me a 6/10 profit. Whereas if I open up there an overseas subsidiary, I'll be having a subsidiary, no, permanent establishment, because you want to adjust a loss. So over there now it will be 240, negative 240. And the company which is in UK, Silvis, okay, the company is also having 420's profit. Okay, neither the company has any other source of incomes and gains. Cool, chalega. So the question is pretty manageable till here. Till here I could manage the question. It is very easy. It's going in ease. Last point, Elvora Limited has a VAT, value added tax. Okay, Elvora Limited is registered for the purpose of VAT in UK and makes wholly taxable supplies. Okay, so this is a company which is registered for VAT. Okay, good. And they make the taxable supplies in UK. That we know, if I'm going to make the supply, I have to pay in the tax in the country in which I'm situated. Or the thing. On now, what happened? April 23, the next year. In April 23, okay, like the previous year's day 1, Elvora Limited engaged the service of the legal firm in Selmia. Okay, so Elvora Limited has taken up a service. Baba, if I have taken up a service, means it's something like a purchase. So I would have paid them an input tax. Yes. If I have made an input tax to my overseas, can I take the credit? Yes, ma'am, you can take the credit. Yes, you can take the credit. So what it has written, Elvora Limited is engaged the service of the legal firms to which it has paid a fees of 3,500 in the same month. Okay. And in May, the next month, they have purchased, Elvora has purchased something from Selma only as a goods. So same here, if I have purchased any goods, I can take the credit of 2,100 for the sale in UK. Okay, simple. So this was just a background of the story, which was pretty easy and like very crisp it was. Like I don't feel like this was a difficult question. I find it very easy. Yeah. Now it's our situation that we have to understand the solution, how to write it. So before I go ahead with the solution, let me first understand what's the requirement for the first. First, you should explain and you should assume. And you know what, students? Whenever it is a situation, I have to like write it very professionally. Okay, so explain first of all what they told. Explain the corporation tax treatment of Silvis Limited for the two assets that they have taken. So I'll just put up a word processor. Yeah, this is the way I just draft the solutions for, and I want you guys also to know this. Okay, I'll just go up and I'll just make it over here. So I just copied my first question. Okay, I just copied my first question. Now what it is given in the question. Yeah, first about the assets. So what have they given about the assets? First, okay, the company is having the following two assets on 1st April 2022. The LT brand is 50k. Okay, so first I will go ahead with the LT brand. Okay, the LT brand's cost is 50k, and you know the life of the intangible asset is gonna be 8 years. Okay, so I need to book in proper expenditure about the LT brand. I will just start formulating my answer, and trust me, it is easy. Trust me, this question is very easy, but people have some doubts, so I thought like it's better to do it. Okay. Okay. In I have to formulate in relation to LT brand, the company limited, the Silvis limited will be able to claim an allowed expenditure of how much? So it's a brand means it's an intangible assets. Okay. So for intangible asset we have to think in relation to LT brand. Yeah, it's an LT brand. The Silvis Limited, my company. Yeah, Silvis Limited. The Silvis Limited will be able to claim how much expenditure will be able to claim the X amount of expenditure, allowed expenditure in P&L stuff. In the P&L expenses. And it is an intangible asset and it is an intangible asset. So obviously, so it is obvious that we are supposed to, what are we supposed to do? We have to amortize it. Yeah, we are supposed to amortize the intangible asset, right? We're supposed to amortize the intangible asset. And if I'm amortizing any intangible asset, I need to have an expenditure. So how much is my expenditure? Allowed expenditure will be higher of what? Yes. So please learn this, yeah. Allowed expenditure is higher of what? It's higher of two things. Higher of first, yes guys, it is higher of what? It's higher of accounting amortization or 4% of the cost, yeah. It is amortization cost, amortization expenditure, or 4% of the cost, or second 4% of the cost of the asset. Okay, fine. Now we have to find it out how much is the cost and all. So yeah, we know that the amortization cost will be how much. So prior to that, it is it's 50,000. So yeah, it's 50,000 pound, right? The cost of the asset. So that is to be divided by 8 years. So the amortization expenses will be how much? So the amortization expenses will be basically pound 50,000 divided by number of years, that is 8 years. So am I getting something around pound 6250? Yes, it's 6250 either, or 4% of the cost of the asset. Okay, or 4% of the cost of asset, which is equivalent to 50k into 4%. Is it coming up next to you at the rate of 2000? Yeah. So which is higher? So obviously you will say, okay, ma'am, this is higher, na? 6250 is obviously higher. So yes, this is going to be higher. So we'll be just formulating the answer that for Silvis Limited, it is very much beneficial to claim what? Amortization as an expenditure. Yeah. For my company, for Silvis Limited, it is beneficial to consider the amortized cost as an expenditure. I hope it's clear. Yes. So this is what we just analyzed it. Then you remember, my company has purchased a brand. So like this has been allowed as a trading expenses. So my company has purchased a brand when? So yeah, it has been purchased on 1st April 2022. So for the year end I have to book. So brand was being purchased purchased, which is purchased by the company, by the service company on 1st April 2022 and the year ends on 31st March 23. So it's clear cut that what would be an expenditure in the current year, therefore the allowed expenditure is what? Therefore the allowed expenditure will be pound 6250 in the P&L stuff, in P&L statement. I hope it's very clear. Yes or no? Yeah. Superb easy? Yeah, very easy. Yes. This is how I have just analyzed about the first asset, that is alt brand. This is basically just the brand. But now we have another asset also, if you remember. Yeah, we had another asset also. So what was the asset? If you remember, we were having another asset about the machinery. Yeah, I had another machine of the another asset for machinery. So now what about the machine I should do? So yes, about the machine also I have supposed to write it. About the machine in relation to specialized machine which the company has purchased for 30,000 pound, capital allowances will be claimed. Okay, so I just have to write it. In this case, the company has purchased another specialized machinery for how much? For 30,000. For 30,000, and what will I get? I'll get a capital allowances on that, and the company can claim, and the company can get the capital allowances. Yes, but how much capital allowances can I get? So capital allowances are normally deducted and shown in the P&L stuff. Yeah, so we have a super allowance of 130%. Yeah, so this capital allowances are normally charged to P&L statement. The company can get what? The super allowances of 130%. Super allowance of 130% is available. Only if what, guys? Yes, allowances is available only if the asset was newly purchased. Yeah, but over here, as per the question, it was not newly purchased, it was being used, right? However, so this will not be available. So yeah, but in this case it was already used, so this allowances will not be there. So this allowances will not be available. Clear? This is the first point. Now what next? Can I get the other allowances which is known as annual investment allowances? Yes, it can be claimed. Yeah. So annual investment allowances can be claimed. So everything I will now mention it bold. Yeah. So it can be claimed. And it can be claimed against what? Purchase of anything. But what is the maximum capacity? So yeah, it is having 1 pound million and it can cover all the costs. Okay, so it can be claimed against the purchase of machinery, what I was having it. And the maximum allowable limit is £1 millions. Yes, so we can adjust the cost of the asset of 30k against the allowances. Yeah, so that is very clear. Yes. So with these we have also completed the first answer. Yeah, now what is the remaining question what they have asked us? So I think like it's very pretty easy. Up next, what is the second requirement? Explain with a reference to the relief available towards the losses which I'm expecting it in the upcoming forecast. Yeah, about the company which I want to set up as a not as a not as I don't want to like set up it as an overseas subsidiary. No, I want to set up it as a PE, permanent establishment. So what I can get it benefit. So you'll say, okay, ma'am, if I'm doing it so, definitely I'll be getting up a benefit of what? Yes. Perfect. You will get a benefit that you can like relieve the losses. But when it is my subsidiary there, it is altogether a separate legal entity. So the topic of adjustments is not there. For sure, it's not there, right? So it will not be available only. So yes. Yeah. Okay. Just give me a minute. So what's the question that they have presented? Please look that. Explain the difference available towards the forecasting thing. Yeah. Yeah, so I just have to write it. I just have to write it about the forecasting thing. It will not be beneficial, yeah, to claim because I know, okay, there will be certain consequences which are again not so better. So I have to write it the way it is. It's better. So I will have to mention it that. Just give me a minute. Yeah, we'll just take a break of 2 minutes. So yes, students, over here. Oh, it's that way. I was just writing the answer. So yeah, the YouTube, I was just checking it up that we are live or not. Many times I get stuck. See. Okay. Yeah, so explain the references to the reliefs that are available for the forecasters. So why it is advantageous for the company to commence the trading in the company which is permanent establishment. So you just have to analyze that when the company has an overseas subsidiary, please mention it, subsidiary, they are not allowed to they are not they are not allowed to adjust any loss making relief. Why, Baba? Why? Because when we considered it as a subsidiary, when we considered and establish it as a subsidiary, it is a separate legal entity. It's a separate legal entity. So obviously it's not possible, right? Entity. But when we set up a branch there, branch means what? Branch means a permanent establishment. It is something like an autonomous, means they'll be not completely autonomous, semi, maybe they'll be dependent upon us. So when you set up a branch or permanent establishment in the overseas, yes, we can claim the loss reliefs. Okay. Up next, if you see the third question, what it has asked us, what they have asked us in the requirement was state the tax consequences of the company. Okay, if I want to go ahead with the tax consequences of the company, now this is important questions. See, whenever it is a thing overseas company, I know, okay, it needs to be done what and how we are going to get the reliefs also. So the consequences of the LORA is to be analyzed first. The consequences of making an election to attempt the profit of overseas. If I take up the consequences of election of exempt, means there are two things you should understand it. Okay, first of all, I'll copy it and I'll explain you, then we will go ahead. Yeah, this is a question. So students, there are two words which I'm highlighting it. Please mark these two words as important. First, explain the consequences of LORA for making election to exempt the profit. Means I want to exempt the profit from UK or from my overseas PE. Means first thing is I want to exempt the profits from overseas. If I'm exempting the profit from overseas, what are the consequences? So that has been asked. Okay, tell me what are the consequences if you exempt it. Are you getting any sort of benefits or not? And second, and advise them, the company, whether the company should or not do it, like whether they should exempt it. Is it beneficial for the company? So please read it carefully and advise the company whether or not is it beneficial to make the elections on the basis of the company's forecast of the future plans and all. That means what I have to give, I have to give the advice, like whether it is beneficial for the company or not, beneficial for the company or not. Okay, that is the two questions which they have asked. I would like to first answer the first question, like if LORA is making an exemption, then what are the consequences? First, the tax consequences of the LORA from the UK exemption over here for the corporation tax is what? So I have to analyze that. Answer for the first. Yes. So students, you should know, okay, if I'm having any sort of exemptions, what are the tax that I don't have to pay? So obviously there will be no UK tax. Obviously there will be no UK tax. There will be no UK loss relief also available. There will be no allowances also that you will not get it. And again, if you're selecting any of the things, it is an irrevocable option. Come up. If you don't have any tax, so what does that mean? If you exempt it, means you don't have to pay UK tax on the permanent establishment profit. Okay, so first, I will not write. There will be no tax. There will be no tax. Neglect no tax on the overseas profits. On the overseas on the overseas permanent establishment. P I'm writing, okay, P is profits. Second, if I don't have taxes, what will I don't have other thing? There will be no loss relief also. There will be no loss reliefs available also. Yeah. So I will not be able to like reduce the loss available on the permanent. So available for the PE, for the PE's losses, a permanent establishment losses, right? Agreed? Yes. Third, I'll get one more benefit, like it's not benefit, but then I'll not get something else. So there will be no UK capital allowances purchased on any of the assets, like yeah. So there will be no capital allowances allowed, yeah, on the purchase of the assets. Agreed. By whom? By the overseas PE establishment. Yes, cool. Along with that, if I'm choosing it, it is an irrevocable option. The election of the exemption is an irrevocable option. Means once you have chosen it, you have to continue it. Yeah, you have to continue it, which means it has to apply on the Evora Limited always. So yeah, the election will apply to all the subsidiaries which exist now, including my company CELMA, and maybe upcoming in future also. So yeah, this election is going to be applicable. Yeah, this election is going to be applied to the current which is there, to the overseas permanent establishment, which is right now current, means that is basically the CELMA, and other in future. Maybe if I am just planning up, another will be formed in future, another which will be formed in the upcoming future. I hope it's very pretty clear. Yes. So these are the consequences which I just mentioned. After having the consequences, they have told, okay, and we understood the consequences fine, but now we need to give some actions also. So okay, I have to give some actions also for what I can be like, good at. So yeah, if I'm just taking it up, I know okay, future may I will not be able to do so. So what have they asked us? Okay, in the question, I'm just explaining you guys. Okay, in the question it was that like 2,40,000 was a loss which was there of the company. So maybe you will not be able to adjust that much losses too. So yes, I'll just show you if you want. Just a minute. Yeah, if you can see here the losses. Yes. How much there is a loss? CELMA is having an operating loss, expecting a loss of 240. So maybe now they will not be able to like take up the loss if they are doing what? If they are accepting these consequences. That says what over here? That if the Elora Limited will make an election of the exemption, then definitely considering the forecast, it will not be beneficial, because now I will not be able to take the loss reliefs. Yes. If the company is accepting the exemptions, then in the upcoming future, in the upcoming forecast about the CELMA's losses, the CELMA's loss of £240, we will not be able to get the loss relief. Yeah, so this will not be available to us. Yes, agreed? Yes, that is something which we know. So current forecast is there, so it's fine. If exemption election is made, then it will not be relieved against the UK profits also. Yeah, fine. If in future Elora is doing the same operations, maybe in upcoming future in getting a profit, you know, they told only for 9 months it's a loss, but then in future it is a profit. If there is a profit, you have to pay how much tax? 28% in that country. Yes, so that is also a situation which we have to analyze it prior. So if in future the companies overseas gets profit, then the UK tax gets applicable if the exemption election is not made. However, UK tax is not relevant consideration in the overseas. If Selma pays 28% and if UK gets to pay 19%, there is a double taxation thing. So considering the exemption, it will not be better that they should go ahead. Okay, so we'll just read it. If in future if I think it's visible here, if Elora company, which if in future the Elora is limited overseas operations gets profit, overseas operations are profitable, then the UK may get applicable if the exemption is not made. Then UK taxation will be applicable if the exemption is not claimed, right? If the exemption is not claimed, but if the exemption is claimed, then the things are done in the different way. Yes. However, UK tax is not proper if the overseas operations are considered, because in Selma's tax is 28%. We know that Selma's tax rate is equal to 28%, whereas in UK the corporation tax rate are 19%. Yep. Agreed? Yes. Current forecast over here, it is being given. So they have told that if UK tax gets applicable, then it will be relieved through double taxation also. If UK taxation, like, see, you have to take what in the double taxation, whichever is lower. So any which was 19 is exempt. Then you take the exemption or you don't take the exemption, it is one and the same, isn't it? If it gets relieved through double taxation, yeah, if UK taxation gets relieved through double taxation, then what it is the scenario? Is it better or not? Yeah, because over here we have to see whichever is lower, because the lower amongst the taxes is any which ways 19%, so it is any which ways exempt. So even if you take or even if you don't take, it is the same. So this means that the UK taxation is relieved considering the exemption. So considering the exemption, it is not beneficial to have the exemption, it's okay. So considering the exemption is of no use, like if you take or not, it's not better, will not be beneficial, because it is any which way is not changing anything from the perspective of UK. Why? Because it any which way is getting applicable. Yeah, the tax is not getting applicable, so it's fine. So it's more of advisable that please don't make this so it is advisable that the company should not go ahead with exemptions as of now. Yeah, cool. Very simple. Yes, Pokka. Yeah, I find this question very simple, but some of the students have some doubt, so that's the reason I have taken the question up. Now the last question over here was very easy about the VAT, if you remember. Yeah, requirements. That please explain how they have to report it for the VAT in two parts: service purchased and goods purchased. So we remember if the service is purchased, yeah, and if I'm going to pay them, like for example for the services, and if I'm paying, like I'm purchasing the services, so I have to pay the input tax credit. If somebody else is purchasing, so they'll pay. Like if I'm selling it, I will receive it. Okay, so fine. So can I take it for the goods and services? Yeah, we can take it for the goods and services. So what have they asked us in the question about the VAT? It was very easy, but students made mistake. I don't know why. So VAT, Elobra Limited is registered for the purpose of VAT in UK. Okay. who makes taxable supplies. So the company has to make taxable supply, the company has to pay the taxes to the government. And in return, if I have like purchased goods and services, I'll get the credit off for sure. In April 2023, the Elora Limited is engaged in the services. So okay, initially in the services, the company was there, which it paid fees of 3,500 per month, okay, like for the same month, and they have purchased a good also. So they have imported it from other country for the rate of 2,100. So it's okay, I can just answer it. Yeah, we can get the credit for sure. It's very easy. In relation to the legal services, we know that in relation to the services which the company has purchased it, which the company has acquired it from the overseas firm. Yeah, so is it not meaning that okay, if I have taken up from the legal firm in Selmia, so Elvora Limited has to pay the VAT on the transactions? Yeah, so Elvora Limited has to pay VAT, the VAT. They don't have another on the transaction in UK, on the transactions in UK. Yeah, we know that. And once he have paid, so obviously it is aloe vera, no, it's Evora, I'm so sorry, Evora Limited is any which ways a registered customer. So yeah, we have tried that. Evora Limited is a registered customer. Registered customer. So like it's a registered customer, right? So in that case, the VAT is to be paid by whom? The VAT is to be paid in the customer's country. Yes, the VAT becomes payable in the customer's country. And if the customer's country, if the VAT is payable, so that shows what? That is a very clear cut, which that means that they can also get the taxable supplies, which is UK in case of aloe vera. However, the company registers and deals wholly in the things, so yes, they can also get the credits available. Okay. And what about the goods? And what about the goods that they have purchased? In relation of the goods also, the Evora has paid the goods. Like for the goods, they have paid the import tax, that is VAT, they have paid. However, the company is registered and it deals wholly in the taxable supplies, so that yes, they can recover the tax credits. Even for the goods, that Evora has imported it and purchased, or imported from Sylvia, or yeah, like Selima, yes, then the company, the Evora, has also paid a tax of a VAT on the purchase. Thus the company can claim what? Can claim the exemption, no, can claim the, and can claim or can be able, or slash, it's able to recover the tax credits. Agreed? Yes. What the VAT paid? The VAT paid on which date? In its return on June, or whatever the date it is. So 30 June 2023. So this is what I'm supposed to write the answer to get 20 marks. And if I'm writing this answer in this way, if I get what marks, I'll just cancel everything. So if I write my answers in this fashion, definitely I'll get the good marks. Very, very, very pretty good marks. So yes, I hope, yeah, it was a very short session, and within an hour we were able to like complete the question. And students, yes, this is what I just wanted to tell you. Okay, whenever you are taking up any topic, or whenever you're doing up any questions for yourself, do have the practice to write in the CME platform. That will not just increase my speed to write, but also I'll get the confidence that I'm getting it. Okay, so I'm not showing you the answer what has been wrote by the institute. You any which ways know that. Okay, and yeah, with these sweet gesture, I would like to say you that do practice a lot of sums, do practice a lot of theory for yourselves. And yes, if you're good with the ATX, you have a very good future in the like upcoming things, because I hope that you guys are gonna rock the paper. And yes students, I know this is the last session, but nevertheless we are going to meet it again. And all the very best from my all heart wishes to you. Do keep the paper, like be successful, have a wonders ahead. Okay, so yeah, thank you, and hope to see you guys very soon. And like, okay, any which ways, if you have any sort of doubts, we are always there. And students, looking forward to have more beautiful things with you. And yeah, if it is your paper, I really want you all to pass. And maybe if it is another way you are going to give it the exam later on, even I want you guys to clear your papers. So very thank you to all my students for having up the sessions with me. So thank you. I would be more of appreciated if you would have felt that these sessions are a bit useful for you. Thank you.